What is money? What do you think about money? Money is actually a game. Like, if you think of this way, that Elon Musk wakes up one morning and his net worth goes up by 11 billion just because Tesla's shares go up. Or you see people playing in the casinos in Vegas and how much money is being circulated through Vegas every single day. And you see somebody selling a banana duct tape painting for millions. And then you see somebody selling the concept of nothing for $14,000 and saying, I'm just selling nothing. And somebody pays $14,000 for that. And when you start to look at those things, you think, what is money? What is really money? And what you realize is that money is a byproduct of your perception of yourself and the world. And when you shift that, everything changes. When you shift the way you see money and the way you see yourself, you become a walking, talking magnet for money. So when I really embodied that, and there are 4 powerful steps that I took to embody that, 4 powerful things that I did, I received my annual income in a weekend. And since then, every year I've been receiving my annual income every month. So a point comes in your life when your income feels like a telephone number, when it feels like, what is money? Like, it's beyond what I need. It's beyond what I want. It just is. So money just is. It's always available. It's always available in the abundance, and it's always there. When you create the demand in your consciousness by changing a perception of yourself and money, you create this demand and activate invisible supply for you. And here are the 4 things you can do to do that today. So the biggest thing is that your nervous system is wired to connect safety with money. So the biggest fear for a lot of people have is money will run out. Even when they have sufficient money, every time they check their bank account, there's this feeling like, there is this discomfort. And we have picked this pattern with money that it's going to run out from our childhood. So before we knew money, when we were in our mother's womb and we were hearing the conversations, the fear was about money running out was directly penetrating in our consciousness. Before we even build a relationship with money, we build the fear of money running out. And when you have this experience, you don't even need a quantity of money to change it. That's why with a lot of people, they receive a lot of money, they win lotteries, and still they end up with the same pattern because their consciousness for holding more money doesn't change. Their capacity doesn't increase. So there's a really powerful exercise that instead of money become a source of fear and almost questioning the safety, your safety, it becomes a source of trust and reliability, and you can always trust that money is always going to be there. It's always there. It's always is. This step takes 3 weeks to completely reprogram your nervous system to build that safety and trust, and it's called having. What you do is every time you spend money, you for a second change your feeling just before spending. You take a second and you change the way you're feeling, and you start to really focus on the fact that I have money. The beauty of this tool is it doesn't expect you to believe in something or visualize something. You're using your physical reality to reprogram your mind to focus on the fact that you have money. If you're paying your bill, you're going to pay that bill anyway. Why not pause for a second and focus on the fact that you have money? Because when you are paying that bill and fearing the money will run out, you're using your imagination in the opposite way to build and enhance the fear that it can run out, and then more money leaves. So while you're going to make those transactions anyway, you're going to live your life anyway, really tapping into the feeling of I have money while swiping your card, pressing the button pay, or making that transaction. And then you start to build that calmness with money. The other thing what you can do is you can put stickers on your credit card or your debit card that reminds you. If you want to take it to the next level, you can have your having journal. So at the end of the day, you write, I have money to pay, and whatever you paid for, and then how it makes you feel. It makes me feel very abundant. So for example, if you buy something for your children and that's like a $1 thing, you can write that. It doesn't matter how much the money is. It's about what is your relationship. So when you do that, you build a frequency where money stays longer, where you have this calmness and trust with money, and more money comes. And when more money comes, you can compound on that feeling, and it just compound itself to the level where you just have this calmness and peace with money. The second thing, which is really powerful, is that we have been exposed in infinite ways to lack and to the fact that there is lack of money, there is recession, there are less jobs, there is this, like, you open the TV and within 5 minutes you're going to see something that will show you that. And it's so easy to be exposed to those things because they're everywhere. So what you want to do is you want to give your mind enough evidence to normalize big amounts of money. So I was taking the example of the casinos in Vegas, right? How much money gets circulated through them? Think of the transport industry, like think of the car industry, global car industry, how much money is being circulated. Think of the car industry in your country or in United States, how much money is being circulated. Think of the stock exchange. Think of the rich, like if you start to drive around rich neighborhood, you see so many big houses, like they are there. They've always been there. And it's so funny, when I started doing that, inevitably I owned a really big house. And then I heard somebody saying it to my mom when she came to my house. The taxi driver said to her that, these are the rich people, these are bad people. And I was thinking, once I used to believe that, rich people are bad. And when I changed my consciousness, I became one of them. So you have to change your consciousness about the availability of money, about rich people being in that environment. Go to really posh shops in your neighborhood. Go to a Chanel store. See there is a queue for people buying that. I remember last year I wanted to buy a really nice coat from Guess, and I really loved it. And I went to one of the malls in London and they told me, sorry, we have run out. Then I went to the other mall in the completely different part of London, and they told me, sorry, you have to wait in the queue. We have a long queue. And I waited in the queue, and then later they said, sorry, we are shutting now. We are really sorry. Come next day. And what prices they're charging, and how, if you want to buy something from Birkin, you have to take an appointment. You have to go and buy small things first to really prove that you're worthy. And then they choose which bag suits you, and they decide if you're worthy for their bags. And they charge 50 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand for their bags. And if they accept you for that bag, then only you get accepted. So people have different consciousness. Apple makes people wait 24 hours in the queue to get hold of their brand new iPhone. Versus saying there is not enough money. There is a lot of money. It's in the circulation. If you start to expose yourself to richness, to rich environment, and you have to do it really consciously, because automatically we are exposed to so much of lack. Everybody's talking about recession. Everybody's talking about the job problems. I don't even entertain those ideas now. When somebody says it's very hard to get a job, I say, no, that's not true. It's never true, right? When somebody says there is not enough money to go around, I know this is not a place I want to be. So you want to be very conscious of what you're exposing your mind to, because your mind takes the average of what you're exposed to unless you reject it. So it drives the meaning based on the average. So if you're mostly exposed to lack, you cannot expect your mind to think in abundance. So you want to make a very conscious effort to drive around rich neighborhoods, to go to those malls, to see abundance everywhere. The third and the most powerful thing which you can do is you can change your identity and see yourself as a very important person. I'm a very important person. And the truth is, we all are VIPs. The only difference is some people have acknowledged that, some people know that, and some people don't. So what you want to start to do is you want to start to look at yourself as a very important person. And then you start to see yourself that way. You start to walk that way. You start to embody that energy. You start to care about your time, care about your energy, care about what you're creating, care about who you're hanging out with, care about your development, care about you as a very important person. And even as a bonus, if you have a choice to get something VIP, if you're attending something, if it's not too much of a stretch, if you can stay in the positive vibration while doing that, I would highly recommend. If it reduces the vibration and puts you in lack, it will have an opposite impact. But if you can stay in the positive and still see yourself and it helps you with your vibration, get a VIP ticket to something, go to something VIP, buy something as VIP, and you start to really see yourself as a very important person and a person of value. So there is a whole paradigm associated with that. And that paradigm is, I'm a very important person. What I create is very important. My work is important. And then you start to embody that energy and start to charge according to the fact that you're an important person. Your time is important. Your creation is important. And then you attract those people who reflect that to you, who pay those prices, who put in the work, or who really value what you're offering. And those people are also realizing in their consciousness that they are VIP. And then they create value with you. So when they invest in you, in your product, in your work, in you, they are the two people who see themselves as VIP, very important people who care about their personal gifts. They co-create together and masterpieces are created. You start to see your time as very important. You start to see your inner gifts, your rest, your recreation. And what you realize is that you're increasing your energetic standard to receive more from the universe because you have declared that you are a very important person. It takes tiny steps to shift that and give a message to your subconscious that you are a person of value. You are important. Wherever you go, whatever you do is important. And everything around you starts to shift from that place. The other thing what you can do is you can set yourself a money frequency and start to see yourself with that money now. But when you create that money frequency, instead of saying how I'm going to do that, what I'm going to do, you say, who do I need to be? How do I need to see myself? What identity you want to operate with? And oftentimes, there are few identity tweaks that you can do to become a match. You don't have to change lots of things. In fact, you don't have to change anything about you. You just have to change the way you see you. And with a few identity tweaks, you can start to see yourself as that person. You can start embodying being that person. And the more you do that, the more you think, feel, and act in alignment, because your identity controls you 98% of the time. It's your invisible operating system that runs your show. And then you start to attract in alignment to manifest the result you want. So when I wanted to attract $1 million partnerships in my corporate consulting business, what I did was I used the law of compensation, the universal law of compensation, which works no matter where you are in the universe. And I took few things from that to embody my identity. According to universal law of compensation, the amount of money you receive is based on the demand for what you do, how good you are at doing it, how easy it is to replace you. So the first identity I took was there's a huge demand for what I do. And I started to embody that identity. That means I said, how would I think if that was true? How would I feel if that was true? How would I behave? So I started to see myself as a valuable person, VIP. I started to see my work as very valuable. I see my work as adding a lot of value for the organizations. And I started to feel confident. I started to show up confidently. I started to approach people with a lot of confidence that my work is so valuable and it's adding a huge value. And as I started to do those things, I started to attract the people who could see the value of my work, who started asking me, this is so interesting. Can you tell me more? Where can we have a meeting? Let's have a conversation. Let's agree the next steps and all those beautiful things. And then I started to take the identity that I'm world class at doing this. In the beginning, it felt true. No, because that wasn't true. So if your body's bullshit detector system says this is not true, you can say, I'm becoming really good at what I do. I am naturally growing. But I took this identity, I'm a world class, because I know whatever identity I take, it manifests. So the more you do this work, the easier it is for the greatest identity to cross your bullshit detector system in your body. So when I took on this identity and I started to really embody that, my work and my quality of work started to grow naturally. It became world class. I got so interested in learning new things. I started to really articulate my work effectively. I started to see so much results, case studies from my work. And then it compounded more and more and more. And then we started to partner with huge tech giants because our work was world class, right? Similarly, I took another identity for being irreplaceable, that there is an open door for us everywhere because there is irreplaceable demand for what we do. Like nobody can replace us. We are the unique people who do this. This helped me really tap into my unique point, my USP, my unique selling point, realizing I'm irreplaceable, realizing there's a huge need and we are the irreplaceable ones. And then this whole identity compounded on itself and we start to manifest illogical, crazy results by embodying that. So if you have this belief that you have to change thousands of beliefs about you, thousands of identity patterns, no. You just need a few identity tweaks to become a match for illogical results because identity work is so powerful. The key is identity is not just affirmation. You ask yourself this question: how do I think? What would it look like? How would I feel? You go really deep and paint that identity, embody that identity, act in alignment, and then your outside reality is a projection of your identity. So the 4 steps I'm going to repeat again. The first step is tapping into having. You have money, building that security with money, feeling safe with money. The second step is exposing yourself and normalizing huge amounts of money. And then it doesn't even seem huge, make a million look small. The third thing is you are a very important person and you're acknowledging that. You're raising your hand with me and saying, yes, I'm a very important person. And the fourth thing is your identity, how you see yourself. And you just need a few tweaks. And you just need a few tweaks. And when you do that, you become unmatchable. Your success, your results scream louder than your success, and your results go so fast that you need a telescope to see how far you have come. That's when it feels like it's illegal. It's too good to be true to know these secrets, and they're really powerful. Let me know which one you're doing first and what resonated with you the most.